Hello there, my tiny-headed, fast-running fans, and welcome back to another episode of TF2 Talk with Gamerman H. This week, we're gonna do something different, and by this week, I mean the next 8 weeks after it as well. In this incredibly long series that I may or may not shorten by releasing more than one a week, I will attempt to talk about how to play the Two Cities Tour as each of the 9 classes. I might end up repeating myself a couple times, but hey, I've been asked by at least 3 people to do something like this, so I guess I might as well do it. The point of these guides will be to do as well as I can at explaining each of the classes well enough to make anyone who may not have any idea what they're doing in MVM as that class able to play properly and not get kicked. Too many times I've seen someone say, "I suck at that class," when asked to play as the class the team needs, so my goal will be to help cut that down a bit. And hey, even if you already know what you're doing, perhaps I'll be able to show you some new things or ideas you may not already know. We'll see. Without further ado, let's get started on the first class on the list, Scout. Quick side note here, for this series we'll be using a quick sum up before I get into the meat and potatoes of each episode. Each thing should be self-explanatory other than these two. Class importance is a measure of how important a class is in general to 2 cities specifically. This is on average, and there are outliers that don't follow this that I will cover. Skill needed will cover how much skill you need from other game modes. You should be a little familiar with a class before giving it a shot in MVM.
Class, Scout. Role, money collection and DPS support. Special abilities, increased money collection range, and money is health. Class importance, essential. Skill needed, almost none. Section 1.
Basics. The Scout is one of the essential roles in 2 cities, or really MVM in general. Because this tour has 2 missions that drop money like crazy, and 2 missions where missing money at all is a practically death sentence, the Scout is embraced a lot. It will be quite rare that you ever see a team request to not have a Scout, so being familiar with how he works and what he needs to do will be a major asset in being able to play any game you get into. The Scout's main role, above all else, is to collect money. He's the fastest class, he can double jump to help avoid enemy fire, and he has an increased radius of money collection than any of the other classes. On top of that, the Scout can actually get health from the money he collects, including overheal. So the Scout should be the only person getting money, assuming he's alive and competent enough to do it. As Scout, you'll want to run around like a maniac, double jumping to avoid explosive fire as often as you need, and trying to make sure none of the money burns up. If it starts blinking, you have a very little time to grab the cash, and if it burns up, you'll see the money counter turn from white to black. On the default HUD at least. I can't speak for every HUD out there. Many super hardcore players will be angry if you miss money, but it's nothing to be worried that much about. Do your best and try to never get a B or lower grade. That's the sign of a failing Scout. Shoot for less than $50 missed in a round to start with, but of course, always strive for 0 missed. You'll get a bonus at the end of a wave if you miss little to no money, which is always good for a team. Outside of money collection, the Scout is used for assisting the other classes in DPS. With the Mad Milk secondary and Fan of War melee weapons, the Scout will be able to assist in healing teammates and dealing mini crit damage, respectively. With some simple upgrades, these can be made to help even more, but we'll talk about upgrades in a minute. With that information now available to you, hopefully you can understand that in addition to the previous mentioned double jumping and sprinting, you'll want to smack robots with the fan and cover them in your suspicious white liquid. And you are correct! Save the milk for the giants when your recharge rate is not upgraded, but other than that, collect money and hit robots. The Scout really does a ton of damage support, and without him hitting robots, you can really feel the difference. Other than that, don't forget to take out snipers if you can. Don't bother if the Solly's already getting them or if you have too much money to collect, but especially on Rottenburg, the Scout should be able to get them. This is snipers, not bowmen. Don't try too hard to get the bowmen, they use aim hack. When it comes down to the last wave on a mission, people tend to leave Scout for more DPS-oriented classes. If you choose not to, you're not likely to be hated, but just keep that in mind. The ex-Scout is also usually allowed to use ridiculous loadouts and get a little goofy, so have some fun with it if you've earned it. Last but not least for this section, do not take the teleporter if anyone else on your team is in spawn. Any Scout can quickly get to the front lines on their own. Don't be a dick. Section 2, Loadouts. Now, I try not to scream about meta very much as I think there's usually a legitimate alternative. However, for the Scout on 2 cities, I have only one recommended loadout. Primary, Soda Popper. While you really can use any primary except for the Babyface's blaster, you take way too much damage out there. I find the Soda Popper to be the best. Why? As you run with it, you'll build up charge. Activate that charge on your own, and fan hits will deal crit damage, and you'll be able to jump a ton of times no matter what weapon you have out. This can be used with giant sollies to activate, milk, fan, and then jump over them to dodge their shots, and rinse repeat as others aggro on him. Other than this, the Force of Nature is a decent choice for mobility. Secondary, Mad Milk. With upgrades, the Mad Milk will do more than just heal teammates. It will slow down enemy robots. This is so unbelievably useful, especially against giant scouts, that I cannot stress how you should only use this. Unless some sort of weird sniper on your team is using Girardi with the same upgrade, you should probably only ever have this equipped. You know what? Only have this equipped either way. It is just way too useful. Melee, the fan of war. The mini crits it deals will be a game changer for your teammates. It makes giants fall at breakneck speed, and smaller robots will drop like flies. All of the other melee weapons just can't be justified in the same way. They're not exactly damage powerhouses, and with the slowdown upgrade on the Mad Milk, the Sandman, the only good argument to replace the fan with, has its special stun ability made redundant. Just use the fan, it's so frickin' good in MVM. I apologize again for hugging the meta here, but it just works so well it's damn near impossible to argue for anything else. Section 3. Upgrades. Unlike my previous section where I basically just said, use this and trust me, the upgrades aren't exactly cut and dry. Some people say, get movement speed first. Others say, get resistances first. Still others say, upgrade milk fully first. And none of these guys are wrong. Except the milk guy, he's pretty wrong. Other two are good ideas, though. It really depends on what you see coming for the early rounds, though. I usually suggest resistances first, as they will help out no matter what round you're on. If you see crits coming on round 1, grab crit resistance. If not, just put all that money into either blast or bullet, whichever you see more of. If you see giants on the list, grab the speed upgrade for milk. Once you have those upgrades, if you happen to have any extra, then movement speed and jump height will be your last upgrades early on. Once you have full resistances to everything but fire, only get that the rounds you need it and then refund it the next round. Then you can get run speed and jump height. Each round or so, throw an upgrade to milk recharge speed. It makes it a million times easier to keep giant robots going slow. Once all of those are done, Fan of War attack speed should be your last priority. And that should be all you worry about in the upgrade department. You can get run speed and jump height first if you're having trouble getting all the money, assuming you won't get your blood knocked out of your body and all over the nearby walls, of course. Section 4. Map-specific tips. On Manhattan, remember that there are 2 levels to this map, an upper and lower. Hopefully your teammates will call money coming from the part of it that you're not at, but never rely on them to do that. Always be sure to check the other area of a map if you're missing money and can't seem to find it. One upgrade to jump height and being smart about it can be enough to get between the lower and upper map sections. This means you can save some money if you have the skill to do so. It's worth remembering and practicing if you want to save a bit of cash. On Rottenburg, this map also has a lower and upper section, but it's way more easy to notice. This means check the cliff when around the front, tower and bridge when you're around mid, and anywhere robot NGs spawn because, oh dear god. Also remember that this map is longer, and you may have to run long distances between front, mid, and hatch in order to get small groups of robots as your team spreads out. This is a sign of a bad or poorly organized team usually, but you need to remember it in case it happens anyway. Always remember to try and be the best player on your team. Use the rocks in the front. They will help immensely in dodging explosives. Conclusion. And there we have it, a decent enough guide to Scout. I tried to leave it a bit open-ended so you can all fill in the voids with your own specializations to the class. Take your gameplay style and fuse it with this guide and you'll do just fine as Scout. So go now, my pretties, fly into 2 cities and get to collecting that money. Or we'll kick you for missing $2. Welcome to the end card, the part of the video where you get to click on stuff that takes you to other videos and I get to jabber at you about myself. So if you liked the video, go ahead and hit the like button, it really does help, makes people see it more on YouTube and gets me more popular, which of course makes me feel better about myself. If you're a rude noob and haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then there is a subscribe button both on this end card in the bottom middle and down there next to my username underneath the video. Go ahead and click one of those, you'll subscribe to the channel and you'll get to see all sorts of other TF2 Talk episodes as well as other videos I upload. The 2 videos you're looking at right now, you'll be able to click on. One will take you to my Should MVM Have Entry Requirements TF2 Talk episode, where I talk about keeping new people out of MVM until they've played a little bit of it. The other one will take you to Should MVM Have Different Weapon Stats Than PvP Game Modes, another loved video of mine from the TF2 Talk series. So go ahead, click on either, watch both if you haven't, they're great videos, people love them. And anyway, Thanks for watching, and as usual, have a wonderful day.